Good morning, and welcome back to Supernaturalist, where we explore the monsters of supernatural and sometimes discover that the most terrifying ones are very real. Today's episode, No Exit, is one of the most chilling of the early seasons, and not because of special effects or supernatural spectacle, but because it draws its horror straight from American history. Real true crime history. This episode asks an unsettling question. What happens when evil doesn't die? Because in No Exit, the monster isn't a demon or a creature from folklore. It's the ghost of a man who actually lived, a man whose name still echoes through true crime history. This episode opens inside a dim apartment where the lights flicker erratically, casting uneasy shadows across the room. From somewhere within the walls, a faint scratching can be heard. Soft at first, but persistent. A young woman paces the space while talking on the phone, irritated as she complains about the faulty electricity. She sits back down on the couch, still distracted, when something catches her eye. Dark droplets splatter onto her coffee table, thick, black, and tar-like, falling slowly from the ceiling above. Confused and uneasy, she looks up as the scratching inside the walls grows louder and more frantic. Getting up from the couch, she moves toward the far side of the room. There, the sight is even worse. That same black goo seeps from the light switch, and is bubbling and pouring down the wall like a grotesque fountain. She leans in for a closer look, and suddenly, from the tiny screw hole in the switch plate, a man's eye snaps open. She screams, full-throated, terrified, as the horror reveals itself, and she's gone. We don't know who this man is yet, but it's later revealed to be H. Holmes. And if you know even a little bit about true crime history, that name carries some weight, and Supernatural doesn't exaggerate it. So who was H. Holmes in real life? We'll begin with Herman Webster Mudgett, better known as H. Holmes. He's widely considered America's first documented serial killer. He was active in the late 1800s and built what later became known as the Murder Castle in Chicago during the World's Fair. The building included soundproof rooms, secret passageways, trapdoors, gas lines that were used to kill his victims, chutes that led to the basement, and acid vats and cremation facilities. Ugh. Holmes murdered young blonde women. He felt no remorse about it. And most terrifying of all, he was charming, educated, and respected. He was executed in 1896, but even in death, his legacy didn't stay buried. In Supernatural, Holmes returns not as a restless spirit seeking justice, but as something far worse. He's a malevolent ghost, and he's driven by the same compulsions he had in life. Unlike sympathetic spirits, H. Holmes knows exactly what he's doing. He feels no regret, and he has no unfinished business beyond killing. The version of Holmes isn't confused or trapped. He's active, and that makes him extraordinarily dangerous. Most ghosts in Supernatural are bound by trauma, injustice, and emotional loops. Holmes is just bound by his identity. He doesn't haunt because he was wronged. He haunts because he enjoys it. And this is a crucial distinction. Holmes represents the idea that some people don't need supernatural motivation to be evil. Death didn't change him. It just removed his limits. And this episode subtly suggests something terrifying, that some spirits don't linger because they can't move on. They linger because they don't want to. Holmes fits the modern psychology profile of a psychopathic serial killer. He has lack of empathy, grandiosity, manipulation, and the enjoyment of other people's suffering. In Supernatural, his ghost retains these traits. He doesn't lash out randomly. He plans. He stalks his victims. He controls space. He toys with their fear. This makes him more dangerous than most supernatural entities Sam and Dean have encountered, because he thinks like a human predator. because he was once a human predator. In traditional lore and in supernatural, ghosts are stopped by burning their remains or destroying objects anchoring them to this world. But Holmes presents a problem. He was buried in concrete on purpose so that no one would desecrate his body. He wasn't hidden accidentally. He did plan this intentionally for his death. So to stop him, Joe, yes, that Joe, Harvell, has to confront not just the ghost, but her own fear, her inexperience, and the reality of what human hunters face. This is Joe's trial by fire, and she survives it with the help of Sam and Dean. This episode is as much about Joe as it is about Holmes. Joe isn't Sam or Dean. She doesn't have decades of training. She doesn't have emotional armor. But what she does have is resolve. And facing Holmes forces Joe to realize that hunting isn't glamorous. Evil isn't abstract. And courage isn't the absence of fear. It's action in spite of it. No exit marks the moment Joe steps fully into the hunter's world. And she survives. So why is No Exit one of Supernatural's darkest episodes? Well, it's disturbing because the monster is actually real. The history is real. And the psychology is real. There's no metaphorical distance. Holmes actually existed. And people died. So evil didn't need demons to manifest. Supernatural doesn't soften that truth. Not in this episode. Now for the fun facts. Fun fact number 1. The show's version of Holmes closely mirrors real historical details, including his charm and architectural traps. And it makes mention of those things in the episode. Fun fact number 2. The Philadelphia building used for filming was intentionally chosen for his claustrophobic design. And if you've actually seen the episode where Dean and Joe are inside the walls, it's like this narrow space. Fun fact number 3. The episode marked one of Joe Harvell's most fan-favorite appearances. Everybody loves Joe. Fun fact number 4. The writers deliberately avoided romanticizing Holmes, unusual in true crime portrayals. He wasn't in this episode to be charismatic and lure. He just took. Fun fact number 5. Many fans cite No Exit as the episode that proved Supernatural could handle real-world horror just as effectively as folk. Now in closing. No Exit reminds us that not all monsters are myths. Some have lived next door. Some smiled at their victims. Some built castles and hid behind respectability. And sometimes even death isn't enough to stop them. So until next time, hunters, lock the doors, know your history, and remember, the scariest monsters don't need claws. So thank you for joining me today. Please like and share. And if you're new here, please remember to subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. Thank you and have a great weekend.